Hi, I'm just sharing some important information, universal golden light intelligence, and yes, I'm very low down on the ground. I'm not standing on a podium. I'm not proclaiming myself to be a prophet or the second coming, but I am shining the universal golden light intelligence and sharing the golden light intelligence of universal law of abundance and compassion that upholds all our rights. And that light is explaining right now that all this plan to kill 6 billion people, to eradicate 6 billion people from our planet, is crazy, it is insane, and it will lead to annihilation, extinction of humanity. Jesus wasn't lying when he explained that to those who have more, more shall be given, and to those who have less, even that which they have will be taken away. Well, that also applies to the human soul, the human spirit, human intelligence, love, and our numbers as a species. So, you want to dramatically reduce the number of our species, New World Order, and therefore eventually you will amount to nothing. So notice that this information about the Georgia Guidestones, there's nothing mysterious about the monument. RC Christian means basically Rosicrucians, the Rosy Cross. That initially, as a historical movement, started out with good intentions, but unfortunately it's like everything in this world. The best of intentions can be corrupted, and they do get corrupted over time, and the original message and intent gets lost in favour of the nefarious plans of the present ruling elite, who really are an echo chamber in a hall of mirrors of the antiquated ruling elite. But notice that this information is shared in the gutter press, what's known as the gutter press in Britain. And as I've stated in a previous video, the gutter press is used as a vehicle, not just for, news about what's happening to the famous and, to the rich and famous, but it's also used to bury very real things, important, serious information about exactly what's going on in our world right now, knowing full well that because it's been in the Daily Star, nobody's really going to take it seriously anyway. But they can't say that they haven't informed the public about it. You see, they can't say, the public can't turn around and say, but you didn't tell us about it. Well, yeah, we did. But you don't see it being, this kind of stuff being covered in The Guardian, do you? And they want to maintain humanity at under 500 million, so basically with the 6.5 billion of us, too many at the moment. So if we go on to this here, minor. A person under the age of full legal responsibility. Child, infant, youth. What is the meaning of minor? Lesser in importance, seriousness or significance. So children's crime reports are less important, they're not very serious, and they're not very significant. Okay, that applies to all people under the age of legal responsibility, that's under the age of 18. You're insignificant, unimportant, and whatever you say cannot be taken seriously, and that includes your crime reports. So that's where we are right now. The Rosicrucians, the Zionists, whoever, you know, you're talking about the criminal networks from every nation, from every faith, from every politic, get together in order to profit from the evil Zionist agendas, which obviously fits in perfectly according to their own dictates. Because what are Zionists except, elitist, judgmental. Well, I mean, can you really call them people? And are they actually really Zionists? No, sorry, they're not Zionists, because a Zionist is a Rastafarian. And these people calling themselves Zionists are about as far removed from a Rastafarian as you could possibly get. And so that is why it's imperative for the people of Israel to now embrace Jesus as one of their own, who did come to guide them, to stand up for their rights, to their humanity, and to universal law, who shared the true light, golden light of universal intelligence, who was rejected by the usurers of the day, same consciousness, who now call themselves Zionists, or whatever. And a nation like Britain, for example, can't call itself a Christian nation. Well, in fact, no nation on this planet that operates on the principles that our children are minor human beings, that understand that you have no law, okay, understand that you are a widow humanity, the father consciousness is dead, okay, understand that is why Jesus asked us to pray to our Father who art in heaven. He's talking about the spirit, the masculine spirit of father, true father, that this world does not know, because every generation has been robbed of their father, their true father. Because no father would stand by and see the mother of his children being stripped of her rights and treated like chattel. Okay? No father would allow that. And no mother would allow the father to be attacked. But you see, that's how they did it, these psychopaths. First they cripple the mother, and that's when they start hacking away at the fathers. And they did it for generation after generation after generation, until finally they get over 1,000 years to rule. Well, your 1,000 years is up. Okay? It's finished. You are that consciousness that is calling itself a father now. It is not a father. It never was a father. It is not a patriarchy. It is an oligarchy. And your 1,000 years is over. You've had your fun. You've had your chance. You're gone. Okay? That consciousness is gone. Now the living people of today have a choice. No matter who you are, what you've done, what character you have played in this ridiculous fantasy world, you are going to step out of that character and into your humanity, and that's where you'll find Jesus. That's where you'll find Prophet Muhammad. That's where you find Krishna and Buddha. That's where you find yourself. And you're going to do that, and you're going to stand up for the children's rights, because that is the only way that we're going to defeat this horror that threatens to devour our child's future. Understand, humanity, in every nation, that you have been born in life after life after life after life after life. Your soul has been through every kind of suffering and imaginable. Look at history. That is what your soul has been through. That is what your living light, golden light energy has experienced. Now, are you going to tell me that you've been through all that in order for this criminal cabal to now dictate our future forever and ever and ever and ever, and impose an unrepayable criminal debt on every generation? Are you going to tell me that that is why Jesus came, so that thieves, murderers, rapists, child abusers are going to be the chosen ones by God to control our planet forever? Or are we going to get sane? You know, and there's no hatred towards these people who are living so criminally at the moment, because it's so rewarding and they think they've found success. But no, what they've found is even greater responsibility. They are most responsible. You see, and that's why Jesus said, blessed are the poor. Because the poor are forgiven, because they had no choice. And there's a lot of people in Britain who think that they're poor, but they don't even know poverty. Go and have a look at the so-called third world, where over 3 billion people, which the whole of Europe is, I think, is just under 1 billion. 3 billion people living on $2 or less a day, with no rights, no access to an NHS, barely an education. Please. So the way forward is to stand up for your children's rights. And when you stand up for your children's rights, that's when we understand the importance of hemp, the tree of life, to provide for all our needs in every nation. Hemp, eco-friendly industry. Hemp will provide for everything. And silver. So, you know, that's the choice. We have this choice. We need to accept. In my previous video I've said Parliament, while ever you tolerate and give audience to a Zionist Israel lobby, you're not a Parliament, you're a criminal mob. Okay, that is what you are. Parliament. You're a criminal mob serving a criminal mob that's calling itself Zionist and claims to be representing Jews. No, sorry, Jews. Jesus represents Jews, not Netanyahu. Okay, Netanyahu needs help. And people might say, oh yeah, but Jesus said love your enemy. Well, I am loving my enemy. I am loving my enemy. I'm loving my enemy by just being me, exactly as I am, I've had to be in order to survive in this world. Sorry if you find me offensive. I find this world extremely offensive, and yet somehow I still manage to love people within it. I still manage to love the creatures and the plants and the children. And actually I am loving my enemy by sharing the golden light intelligence. I'm loving my enemy by guiding them the right way, which is under the beneficence of universal law of abundance and compassion. And actually they might find it's quite liberating to leave behind the psychopathic mindset that they've been indoctrinated, and probably from birth, a lot of them, into following unquestioningly. Well, question it. Step out, down from the clouds, onto earth, into reality. Start investing in humanity and get more humanity back. A richer, more rewarding, happier, healthier, brighter humanity. There will be no population explosions. There will be no imbalance. There will always be just as many people as there needs to be. And there really does need to be 7 billion people on Earth right now, because this planet is in a state, and it's going to take 7 billion people to sort it out. 7 billion enlightened, awakened, aware people. 7 billion people guided by enlightened, awake and aware people. 7 billion people who, let's face it, if you can persuade people to spend all the time creating bombs in factories or going out killing people, then, you know, the same powers and money can also buy people who do much nicer, friendlier, happier, healthier work that actually is a benefit to life of our planet and doesn't rely on destroying it. We need to start giving and stop taking, because that's what this present consciousness that's governing us, it just takes. And it thinks that it doesn't, what does it give back? Chains. More power to itself. It takes off the people and then, well, steals off them, rapes them. In order to give itself ever more power. You know, what are they creating out of the billions and the trillions that they've squeezed out of humanity, that they've killed children for? What are they doing with it? Oh, they want to control the internet. Oh, they want to introduce 5G. Oh, they want to, you know, ruin the whole of the Middle East, basically sack the Middle East. And Saudi Arabia will just stand by. You know, Saudi Arabia spending billions on bombs and weapons. What for? To uphold the true tenets of Islam that gives women full equal rights and considers children VIPs. No. They want to stick with their antiquated form of Islam, their Daesh interpretation of Islam. Just as the Zionists want to stand by their antiquated interpretations and, in fact, twisted, perverse interpretations of Judaism that apparently give them the rights to rule all of humanity. with their evil money supply based on usury, which God hates, by the way. Yahweh doesn't like usury. So, you know, look again at you Zionist Jews. Look again at Jesus. And to the people of the West, like I say, you consider yourself Christians, but you are not Christians, because if you were Christian, you would not tolerate the legal definition of minor against your children. You would never have tolerated a child to be judged illegitimate. Okay. Like, how can a child be judged illegitimate in a world that tolerates, you know, rapists and usurers, that tolerates the usurers, that actually chooses to elect sex offenders and people who promise and pledge to scrap our human rights into power? Sorry, that's not a Christian society. That's not a Christian church that stands by while austerity is imposed on the nation on behalf of criminals. That isn't Christian. Jesus spoke out for people's rights. He didn't stand against anybody. He spoke up for our humanity. And just by the very fact he did that, he was a threat to the people that wish to deny our humanity and turn us all to rats to run their races, their competitions. The people who removed the head cornerstone, compassion, and placed it for a stumbling block, and placed the stumbling block, ignorance, for their head cornerstone. And in ignorance, people clamour to participate in their competitions. They clamour to win. But what are you winning, humanity? What have we won? An iPod and a nuclear power station that's doing what for us? Is it giving us happier relationships? Are we feeling more fulfilled because we have all this technology at our disposal? It's a waste. Everything's a waste. We're living with wasters. Now they want to waste our very humanity. This plan is insane. And I'm speaking out on behalf of the child of humanity who has a right to a future, because my soul has not survived through the horrors of this world and the judgments that have been cast down upon the genuine, caring and compassionate people. We're talking about a consciousness that only a few centuries ago was burning women on the judgment that they're a witch, and apparently have the powers to rob people of their fertility and destroy our crops and rain down fire from above and withdraw your holdings from a distance. Basically, everything that this insane psychology governing us now has the power to do, and precisely because it crippled the female and judged and persecuted and attacked her just for the very fact of her own femininity. And why? In order to defeat, to kill the Father. But no, heaven is a reality, quantum energy is a reality, the quantum paradise is a reality, and the Father is there. And that same Father Spirit can enter every human, male human host. At any time that every male human host abandons this so-called masculine construct, there is the creation of the crazy wolf brothers, wolf-raised brothers, Romulus and Remus, who established Rome. And notice how, you know, they did even fight each other and one killed the other in order to establish their what became an evil at the core of the whole of Europe, and that includes Italy. I mean, let's face it, You know, the Italian people have suffered under that consciousness more than anybody. You know, the closer you get to the hearts of power, the more horror and degradation you witness in those places. And Britain on the surface looks like a civilised country, you know, from afar, looking at the adverts and the BBC. But seriously, Britain is one sick, disgusting nation. And you've only got to go through the paedophile hunter videos to witness how many sex crazed guys are there out there. A lot of them supposedly dads as well. This is what I mean. This isn't a patriarchy, it's an oligarchy. It always has been. It's a selfish, deluded, crazed oligarchy. And now, I, who have been judged from birth, okay, because, you know, from birth, I was a toy, okay, I was a toy, a thing, an object of desire. I was judged inferior as a child and inferior as a female. I was doubly inferior. And I lived that inferiority. And I was even more inferior because of my class. So, I do totally understand and empathise with people of colour. I always have done. I grew up with people of colour. These people governing us, they keep these divisions only for the people, but among themselves there are no divisions. They don't judge each other according to colour or class. It's all, are you in our club? Are you prepared to accept killing children in one way or another, either directly or indirectly? Whichever way you're prepared to do it, we're here. Welcome to our club. Are you going to uphold the judgment against the child as illegitimate and minor? Are you prepared to uphold the subjugation and oppression and persecution of women? Are you going to help reinforce and sustain the divisions? Welcome to our club. While you're in our club, you can do whatever you like. We will protect you. We will silence anybody who speaks out against you. Or we'll just ignore them. So keep on ignoring me, because I'm just a silly woman from the underclass of Britain. I'm a liar and I'm mad. Okay? And all these people who are standing on the podiums, floating about in the air, they're your angels, aren't you? Aren't they? Your celebrities. And the politicians. Yeah. The corporations. Go and listen to them. Go and smell their dirty, filthy money. Let's face it, it stinks. Well, it's about time we created a clean money supply. And it's about time the people of Israel woke up and actually stood by Yahweh as truly represented and reflected by Jesus. To accept Jesus as a true representative of the Son of Man, as a fit being for the human host of the human host. understand that man is equally both male and female. These are things that you are going to accept, humanity, and if you don't accept it, go to hell. That's where you're going. That's where we are right now, in hell. Okay, this world is hell, because that's all this world believes in, and that's why it tries to buy its way out of it, when you can't. Not when you're using money that's created through crime, and is actually dependent on crime. Usury. We need to create a clean, lawful money supply. So, you know, there's the Bank of Joy, as promoted by Ronald Bernard. I don't think I've got his video now, but here he is. The Bank of Joy. I'll leave you a link under this. Check it out. Check Ronald Bernard out. He's got something to say. He knows. And, you know, I've discovered recently, yeah, actually, he had a very similar childhood experience to my own. He's got a heart, he's got a conscience. Listen to him. What he's saying is true and correct. I'll leave you this video link. And he's honestly sharing his experiences. And he is trying to warn and simultaneously guide people. A lot of people don't want to hear about child abuse and all of these things. Well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to hear about it. Children have to live it. You can't solve a problem if you don't understand it. And how can you accept a solution if you won't even look at the problem? And these solutions do need accepting, otherwise you are going to face the solution, and that is extinction, annihilation. The wages of sin is death. Your choice, humanity. Do you want to live, humanity, or do you want to die? Do you want to give the children a future or not? That is the question that everyone now needs to be asking. So I send my love to everybody, and really, you know, that is the choice. I don't think I could make any more videos. I just don't see the point in it, because I've made the videos, I've shared what I've got to share, I've written to all the authorities, I've campaigned, I've done everything that I can possibly do in my life, and really I can't do any more. It is now down to you people. Either you take notice and you get up off your backsides and stand up for your children's rights, or die. You know, that is your choice, humanity.